Yo, 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 yo. Lose the motherfucking tempo. Let's go.
Hey, we out here.
Seeing the episodes online and then coming into the studio, do you expect much or not really?
Like what do you mean? Like just the setup or
Yeah, like the setup. Do you expect it to be bigger or?
no, I was like, this is dope as fuck, bro. I walked in and like it was a little bit better than I expected. Cause like from the perspective of watching on like your phone or something, it does look small, but like when you get in here, it's like it's nice and roomy, bro. You
Yeah,
know,
we're
the
talking
couch
about
already
it
makes it
too.
look like it has a lot of room. Like just
Yeah,
to chill.
yeah. I seen that you were pretty thrilled to see the turntables and the mixer. Have you ever worked on that particular gear over there?
No, bro, that gear that's fucking foreign as hell to me, bro. I've never touched that shit before, but
Yeah,
it's
we essentially learned DJing like off of that, right, Robert?
Yeah.
Like we started off DJing on virtual and then
that's crazy, bro. I
It's
can't even
weird.
imagine.
We went from using mixers to this to going back to using mixers again and shit.
That's crazy, bro. Because I just had like the little tiny, I think it was Serato, like just a little tiny decks, you know,
Uh-huh.
just off your laptop, and then it's just a standalone. And then I went up to the RX2, and that's pretty much it, bro.
I don't know if are people still complaining about like our DJs, older DJs, still complaining about like still using like vinyls and like actual DJ gear out like in live settings? Because I'm seeing a
Oh,
transition
no.
now that people are now using like the portable controllers now, like during the live settings because of how convenient it is. Because you know, carrying like these turntables, they get heavy, especially when you get older. Like it takes a toll on your back. So
Hell yeah.
like is that still a thing about DJs complaining about like, oh, like when you're out there as a DJ you should be using like traditional gear? It's like, nah, like
It
times
depends.
have changed, I think, you know?
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
I think. No, go ahead. You go.
Right here, hey, Rochambeau,
I
right here,
think-
lose the tempo.
I don't know, bro. I think that like just technology is advancing, bro. All the old cats are gonna complain no matter what. You know, they're gonna be like, it's like with producing, bro. Like, and like at this point, like you have so much access to producing, whereas like in Dead Mouse's age, bro, like there was barely anything. You know, he was making that shit off like just like barely any technology. So I think all the cats are everyone's gonna complain.
You
Even our
know, now that I'm
generation
thinking about it
mostly.
too, like during the Dead Mouse era of that electronic music, most of the producers they didn't have much access to digital stuff
Yeah.
as more to what like the analog
Right.
gear that there was out there. Because nowadays, anybody can use any analog gear type sounding plugins and VSTs in their digital programs. But back then,
Yeah.
a lot more people were using like the actual analog
Synthesizers.
consoles and
Yeah.
synthesizers. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's
They were
something I've
using,
always
like,
wanted
old
to have.
school. It's cool because like Dead Mouse he's got fucking like walls
Shit, yeah.
of synthesizers.
It's
bro.
insane what he did.
Walls. It's crazy, bro.
But and like what's cool about that too, like the whole using the hardware and synthesizers is that like I don't know if like I don't know if you guys ever done it, like ever used hardware and whatnot. But you could legit get just lost in like making sounds on the
Yeah.
fucking hardware and shit like that. And
It's
like
cool, bro.
yeah, and it's so unique though, like to the point where it's like, damn, I literally just made this on this synthesizer. Not a lot of people are gonna have this sound, and especially the way I did it.
Yep.
So like that's why a lot of people look at it like, oh, like getting hardware. So that's why Dead Mouse is so like real like hard on using that shit.
Yeah,
you know?
bro. Yeah, and he said like even now he'll just write stuff out like on Ableton like through MIDI. You know, he won't even use his like keyboard or anything. But that's why he's such a hobbyist of it, bro. He's collected so much over time. Like right now, I have the Korg Optics synthesizer, so that thing's pretty cool, bro. Like there's a lot of just cool shit that I was just using Ableton and like Serum.
Uh-huh.
And then when I started using that Korg, it just opened up like the whole world. Like there's all this new sounds and like just crazy ways you can manipulate it and all that. So it's fucking cool.
What is it called again?
It's called the Korg Optics.
Chord Optics. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
probably need to be a little bit closer.
You're good. No, yeah, but I think like going back to like the whole why people were using these type of like equipment is because like in the clubs, that's what they usually had. Like when you were DJing,
Mhm.
like all
That's
the
what I'm
clubs
saying.
had fucking just turntables and shit. So like we had to learn. Like we thought like, okay, well we want to play clubs and whatnot. So that I think that's why we fucking learn how to
true.
play this, you know, so we could get into these clubs and be able to play their equipment. But
Right.
now, like, bro, depending on the budget of the clubs, they'll either have turntables and CDJs, or they'll just have a mixer. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
they won't just have
100%.
turntables anymore. Like that's pretty ancient now for anyone to
Yeah.
be using.
That's
so.
why it was crazy when I saw those, bro, because I don't see those. Like, really. I mean, I'll see them at like antique shops and like shit like that. Like, bro, but it's like it's just crazy. Like they're those were like pieces of equipment that were used, you know. And then like one day, bro, it's gonna be crazy because like people are gonna be looking at CDJs being like, damn, bro, like, I saw that in a fucking antique shop. Like, you know what I mean?
You know, thinking about this, being a DJ back in the days when not everyone could have, like, not everyone could just download a song back in the day. Like, not everyone could just have a file of the song. Like, you had to literally go to the vinyl store, and this vinyl store only had maybe like 5-6 copies, and the DJs that copped those, like, within that region, like, only these DJs had like this file. So I can see a lot of DJs getting gigs because, oh yeah, this DJ has the fucking vinyls.
And if you're
He's
an
got the
actual
vinyls,
like DJ back then, you're probably getting 3 copies. 2 because you need to use them live. Like you need 2 live, and then 1 just because like, hey, I need one for myself. Like after using them live so long, they get worn out on the wax and shit. Like,
well, like Carl Cox, bro.
Copy.
That mother, he's like the OG that was using like vinyls and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. It was really expensive to be a DJ back in the day. Like,
Hell
like
yeah,
the music,
bro.
now that I think about it. Like, fuck, we have it good being a DJ in these days.
Yeah, bro, for real.
You know,
we have a lot of things good.
Because, bro, now you could just pay maybe what, $15-$20 for a record pool, and you get access to so much downloadable music. Back then, if you wanted a 1 vinyl, you're looking at 10, 20, 15. You want I don't know how the singles were looking like, but albums, I could imagine being more like 20, 30, like maybe going more deeper.
Bro. Yeah.
And imagine that there was an era where people were using actual CDs, bro, on the CDJs.
That's crazy, bro.
And you remember we pulled up to a party and there was someone using CDJs, and it was lit. But then I realized he was using actual fucking CDJs. He pulled up one of those fucking like leather book covers or whatever, and was just flipping through fucking CDs.
Shit, bro.
And I was like,
I can't even imagine, dude. Like, how do you even mix like that? Like, I've never like really looked into it. But so what, you put your vinyl down, and you put the other one, and then you select where, like, you put the little what is that thing called?
The needle.
The needle. Yeah, the needle, and then you put it on the part that you want it, and then you start mixing in the other song. But everything's through
headphones.
Everything's through your headphones. Yeah, bro, that's crazy. Dude. That's fucking crazy.
There's no screen telling you what BPM it is, what key it's in.
No beat sync.
Nah, bro. Like, you literally had to just go off of the key, like the song information that the paper from the vinyl provided.
And that was it.
Yeah, or a lot of times they didn't have the info. You just had to really just know their tempo. Yeah.
That or these stickers right here. So that indicates where the starts of some of the songs are.
That's crazy.
Well, this one's a sample.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, I did.
Damn,
this is mine,
bro.
So
you
like,
need to frame that bitch, bro.
I still use it,
bro. That's crazy.
Yeah. So like, that's where like some of my favorite samples are. Like right here, and right here.
That's
so I
crazy.
know where to like put the needle at.
So those are kind of like your cue
my
points.
cue points. Yeah, these are legit my cue points,
bro.
But
I didn't know they did it like that.
Like also like, so this one's like kind of different because it is just a bunch of different samples on like records with music on it. You see how there's like different like size gauges of lines?
Right.
Like usually you could see when the next track is. So like all this is one track, all this black is one track, then it goes into like a lighter black, that's one track, then a darker black, that's one track. So like,
bro, and if it's dark in the club, how the fuck are you gonna
that's why that fucking light on the turntable is very important.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like,
that's crazy, bro. That's wild, dude. I didn't know they did them like that.
Yeah, cool. that was the ancient shit you had to do back then, bro. And you had to do those with all your vinyls, and
that's crazy.
You know, I remember the first time I was like very like fascinated by the concept of a DJ. I remember I was at my cousin's 15, like at her house, and I had seen someone mixing like music or playing music with lights. I'm like, what the fuck? I never seen this shit before. And I remember my mom telling me like, oh, like you could tell them like to play a song for you. I was like, damn, there was an era of CDs. So I went up there and I was really into Eminem, and I was like, and I'm over here asking for like Eminem, and like everyone like I was like a 6-year-old asking for Eminem when the dance floor was popping.
You can play Eminem.
But I was asking for like, I think I was asking for the fucking I was asking for like a party like Eminem song. I was looking for some like lyrical Eminem song, right? I remember
like Rap God or something.
I think this is like during the What was it, Encore? It was like Encore era, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And I remember I asked him for the Eminem album, the track, and he was like, he was busy. So he just pulled out the fucking what you were talking about, the CD case, big ass CD case, and he just dropped. He's like, here, bro. He's like, I think it's like second to last, but you can look for it. But I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna look through this for sure, because I was like fascinated by like how many CDs this person had collected, and he had it labeled, bro. This DJ had it labeled to A, B, C, D, and like he had.
Goddamn,
Bro, like I think I ended up.
That's his crates.
Those are all his fucking crates, bro.
That's crazy,
dude. And I was just fascinated. Like, as a little kid, I couldn't fathom like what was going on. I was like, dude, like, holy shit! Folder? Like, I think I ended up not even like really asking for the song anymore. I was just like entertained like by what he was like, just a concept that I was like, this is a fucking DJ. Like, I can't believe this shit. And then it's crazy how now I ended up becoming one type shit.
Well, yeah, bro, but that's the cool part. Like, you have like a backstory, you know, like that's the kind of backstory that I wish I had. Like when I was like 6, like I wasn't even thinking about a DJ, bro. Like, I was thinking about like fucking Transformers and shit. So like, but that's your backstory, which is cool. Like now you can be like, hey, like I saw how they like originally used to do it. You know, like I didn't even know the concept of a DJ until I went to Hard Summer in 2017, bro. Like then I knew. I thought what a DJ was, bro. I thought a DJ was like a guy who like got on stage and had like aux cord in his phone and would just go through and like play music, you know, like for like a wedding or something.
Maybe like that.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not too far off.
That's what I thought it was, bro.
I mean, that's literally what it is. Like technically, if you like close your eyes, you can pretty much visualize just like, oh yeah, like.
Yeah, no, that's legit what it is. Just have 2 phones and 2 aux cords and the fucking
just fade one and the other fade one out.
Hey, remember when Apple was trying to get into the DJ industry with like the little iMixing like radio?
Oh yeah,
remember those? Really? Yeah, remember that you're able to like mix between 2 iPods like on a.
Oh yeah. Okay,
I forgot what it was called.
I remember that. Yeah,
I remember it. Did you
really?
really?
Yeah.
How was the efficiency on that shit?
I don't know. I never had 2 iPods to use.
Damn.
So I never used it.
You see, Apple's kind of motherfuckers
like, hey, bring your iPod over here.
But you were
bro.
still able to use it as a regular mixer and plug it into your laptop on virtual DJ.
Shit.
So I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll still use it. You know,
That's crazy, bro.
You see, Apple's the kind of fucking platform to be like, hey, you want this? You're gonna have to buy more shit to make it activate.
So
yeah, bro.
bro.
Oh my god, dude, Apple's ridiculous, bro.
I'm trying to figure out what's like the most like. Not ridiculous, but I'm just like, damn, I can't believe I mixed on that. Because I believe I mixed on something like that where I remember I was at a gig. It was like for my cousin, and she was like, I didn't have any gear either. She was like, well, we don't have any gear, but I got 2 iPods and I got like the ihome station mixing whatever. You can mix on there. I was like, damn.
Damn.
Well, I had my iPod, so I was able to like put my songs on my iPod and then just go off of like whatever her iPod songs. And then yeah, I think that's, I don't know. I think that's like one of the only setups I think I was like, what the hell? Like, I can't believe
that's
I
crazy,
DJ'd
bro.
off of this shit.
Only the craziest thing I DJ'd off of when I learned what DJing was, I got home and I looked up on the App Store. I was like, because I didn't know what the fuck to do. So I just looked up like one of those apps. I don't remember what it was called, bro. It's just like, it did not work at all. But I like, you know, I loaded a track in the like the left side, and then I was like trying to figure it out, and I was like, all right, bro, this is bullshit. It's just what we do. So that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever mixed on, but that's pretty much it.
Okay, you said you went to Hard Summer, and that's when you found out what a DJ was.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you went home and tried to do some shit.
Yeah.
Whose set initially was it?
What's so not?
What's on? Oh fuck yeah,
all right.
Bro, that boy, cause like, but it was only like cause I asked my friend, I was like, wait, what's he doing up there, bro? Cause I didn't know. He's just like, bro, come to this music festival with me. I was like, all right, so I bought my ticket, and we get there, and then I was like, what's he doing? He's DJing. I was like, that's DJing, bro. I was like, that's sick. He had like all these like, he had like a synth up there with him, and like this crazy silver horse, and I was like, all right, bro. I was like, I can fuck with this. I was like the whole like DJing, like the definition of DJing like changed my mind. I was like, all right, bro, let's go. It's like, it's cool. So
at that time, What's So Not? It was just one person.
Yeah, it was just What's So Not. It was just
okay.
him. Yeah.
So What's So Not used to be what, 2 people? Like back then?
Yeah, it was Flume and
it was Flume and him.
Yeah.
Was it? It was a duo?
Yeah.
It was
used to be a duo.
She was
Yeah,
talking when I
bro.
was a single person, yeah, because Flume used to be a part of that.
Yeah.
That's
bro,
crazy.
Used to be like when What's So Not first came, it was they were popping like super. That's like
Bro, of course, Flume.
And then Flume helped with that success as well,
super
because
future bass. Like it was like on the pinnacle of future bass, bro.
Yeah,
they were
bro.
on the top of it.
it was cool to like future bass.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey,
Now
I'm
it's
not dissing. Yeah, I love future bass.
Yeah, bro, future bass is dope. It's just changed. It's
It's just not
Yeah.
in right now. I think that it's just not in
Yeah.
that phase right now. But
I think we're in a what phase do you guys think we're in right now? Like genre wise.
what do you think?
I think oh, you go first.
I think 2 genres are dominating right now.
I think I know what you're going to say too. Go ahead.
For sure, one is drum and bass,
Drum and bass, yeah.
and the other one, I mean, I think it's just gonna be like house, like
Yeah.
just like that tech house
Yeah. House.
vibe is still kind of like. I think that's for me like the climate of the majority of
Of everything that's
Of
happening,
everything.
like, especially in our area. Like
Yeah.
right now, it's
looking a lot, like especially looking at the dance music festival lineups. I'm like, okay, like.
It's a lot.
But then again, like that's like one can argue that like that's like specific curating,
Mhm.
but
I think you're right though. I think it's drum and bass. I think that would fall under techno too.
techno's big, getting
Techno's
bigger
getting
too.
a
for
lot
sure.
bigger because like in 2017, bro, it was like a lot of stuff that I was hearing was like Millennium type shit, like Flume type shit. But now it's like a lot of like tech house, techno, house, and drum and bass. That's pretty much it. So I think those are dominating. What do you think though?
Yeah, I think the 3 that I would say is house or tech house.
Mm-hmm.
That's always been big.
Yep.
I'd put techno probably right next to it because everyone's just going to these techno shows. Like,
Bro,
I think that's what's popping. Like, not even the genre itself, because a lot of people can't name a lot of techno artists,
right,
but
right.
they just like saying, "Oh, like I was
I
listening
went
to
to
techno."
a techno.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
went to a techno show. So I just think that whole scene right now is thriving. Like, just because it's really underground and like
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole aesthetic of it. I think
Right.
that's
I
that's
firmly
what's
believe
happening.
there's listeners that know the kind of artists that they're looking for, and then there's listeners that are just looking for the sound. Like for example, like there's times where I want to like search for music. I'm searching for artists, but I'm starting to now realize I'm sure there's listeners out there that when they're listening to music, they're just going directly into the search bar, just putting techno, or
Right.
just putting new techno, or they're putting 2023 techno, or they're
Right,
they're not necessarily
Looking for
like,
artists.
looking for the artist per se.
Right.
Maybe not just because they're not trying to follow them, but that's just like the way of just reaching to the genre. Like, art, that's
But-
just the way
Yeah,
of
yeah.
discovering it.
And it's also like for like we're DJs and stuff, right? So like we want to know these artists for a lot of reasons because
Right.
like we're not just average listeners, but an average listener doesn't really need to know like the name of all
Who
the
they
artists
are.
they're listening to, and also like they're searching up that stuff because they don't just want to listen to one artist like catalog, they just want to listen to a good long techno mix or something.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like that's the vibe of it, I feel.
And everyone's making remixes, like just techno remix. I'm making one right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Because once I heard, what was it? What was the song that came out by Oliver Tree?
Miss You?
Yeah, Miss You. That one. I heard like the techno remix. I was like, bro, that's fucking sick.
Fire.
It's simple, bro. But then I was like, so I tried it on. I didn't even know who this artist was. Her name is Nico.
Right.
She has a new song called Jericho.
N-I-K-O?
Yeah, Niko or IN, whatever, however it's spelled. And she had some vocals like just over the over a reel or something. And so I recorded it, and then I exported it MP3. I threw it on an Ableton file, and now I'm making like a techno remix out of it. But just because like I know that's the kind of the sound right now. It's not the sound I'm going for, but I was like, I could kind of fuck with it, So that's techno's popping right now, man.
I think the last genre. Well, I think this is something that's about to start getting popping, and I think I would say like it falls under techno, but like also not really. It's more like in big room too, like in the big room.
Yeah.
But like the new, it's like new rave music or something like that, like future rave.
Future
music.
rave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, the Hardwell and all those fools are be dropping right
Bro,
now.
it's not just hard. Like I'm starting to like. I went outside and like I felt like I went to I went to the Underground 360 on Friday. I think it was.
Oh, Frankie B.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, Frankie.
And there was this DJ there that just dropped all all future rave music, bro. And I was like,
That's crazy.
is this a thing? Because I fucking like it, and it's like, it just sounds like
It's
it fit
knocking.
perfect for that environment, especially because it is in a warehouse, and like, I don't know. When
Right.
I think of rave music, I just think of warehouse.
Now, what would you
shit.
consider? Because I've seen people refer the future rave shit to like hard techno. Like that's why, or
Yeah.
hard techno
Yeah.
mixed with like the house percussions, because it has to do a lot with like the hi-hats too.
And
like,
see, that's the
bringing
thing.
into it.
You're
Mhm.
a lot of people think, well, unless you know about it, a lot of people either think it's evolution of techno, or you think it's the evolution of big room. And I think it's the
Yeah.
evolution of big room.
I think
Like,
so too.
like it's just the way it sounds. It's just big room vibes. Like the subs in it is very like flat and shit. So like,
I
Yeah,
see what you're
yeah.
saying. Very big roomish.
yeah,
Yeah, because I think I was kind of like wondering if we were gonna ever like evolve, because there's so many genres, bro. Like there's
Yeah.
so like people have covered basically everything. So then once I started hearing like this new sound, it kind of like excited me a little bit. Because I was like, all right, so we could still make something like sound,
Fresh.
something that's not necessarily like reinventing the wheel, but just like updating it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
yeah.
So-
Honestly, sounded like they just like I said, combined two fucking genres, techno and
I
big
guess that's
room,
what
just
you do
like
it, bro.
came together, and I was like, all right, we got to fuck the game up real quick, and they just was like, let's do it.
That's sick. Who's playing that? Do you remember?
Bro, I can't. Nah, if I looked at the flyer, I'd probably be able to figure it out, but I don't remember the name. It
Runs
was
return on the
at-
building. A lot of techno artists are out of the U.S.
Yeah.
True.
hmm
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that they used to be in Europe, bro.
Yeah.
Like a lot of techno sounds would come from Europe, but now I feel like a lot of it's coming from the US, which is cool too. Because I feel like Europe is just they've got like a different sound over there, bro. They're all like trance and psytrance and all that.
Facts.
But they also had like cool like techno, like the shows that are happening around here. Like I thought I was seeing a lot of that in Europe, but now it's over here, which is just cool, bro. That means we're kind of like adopting like a new way of like throwing shows and shit like that. So I don't know about in Pascal's day though, bro. I don't know what kind of shows he was throwing like before he got like all insomniac. I see like some bit like
I'm not. I think the shows that have you been to the Electric Jungle Warehouse raves that they've done?
yeah, bro. That shit was sick, dude. I went to one of them and they had the visual panel up there, bro. They had the rails like for like headbanging and all that shit. I was like, oh, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. When I went to the ones in San Bernardino, like it gave me like a flash of like, damn, is this what like Pascal's like shit used to be when it first started out? Like,
Yeah,
I was like, cause this is a like it was
it's a setting,
huge,
bro.
Yeah, I
This-
think it was.
bro. The atmosphere of that place is so cool, bro. Like it's. I wish there was more places like that, bro. Because like just being in the like that atmosphere kind of was like, man, bro, this is probably what it felt like to rave like back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, minus the visual panel, even without like all that stuff, like just it being a warehouse and just some decks, artists up there, some lights. Just that's the atmosphere, bro.
You
It's
know
fucking
what,
cool.
what I fucked with the most that I think really just like, and I don't know if this was I don't think this was intentional whatsoever. I just think this just happened to be like that. But the benches that were in the fucking
Yeah,
in the warehouse, bro, like I was like, this is a fucking right. Like this is some like I don't know. The benches just give it a certain like. Okay.
give it more of like a feel. Like I don't know.
We
bro.
don't just have to be right there on the dance floor type shit.
You
Dancing.
can go chill for a second.
It's
Yeah,
great. It
yeah.
like boxed out the fucking dance floor. Like there was
Mhm.
room like all around, right? But like where the fucking bleachers ended on the side, that's pretty much where like the dance floor was ending.
Right,
and shit.
right. Yeah.
It was cool. It was really cool. But
I
yeah.
went up and I went like to the very top of the bleachers, bro. And I like crossed my arms. I was like looking down, and then Nova came and said, "What's up?" And I was just like staring at the setup, bro. And I was like, "This is so cool, bro." Like, the person that got that warehouse scored, bro. Like, that's a crazy place, dude. Crazy
sure.
place. So
Yeah, it's underground too. Like like you had to like be subscribed to their like line, and like they send you the address to the text.
Bro, to
Yeah,
even
bro.
get in the warehouse is a pretty cool
Hey,
experience.
and you know what's crazy about the text messages is I was thinking about it, like kind of like circling back to like talking about like old school stuff. Like back then, you'd have to go to like a certain like a post and you find a flyer.
Yeah.
That would lead you to like another flyer. So like now in like our day and age, it's a text messages or like an email. You know, you gotta sign up, you gotta get the email, and then it'll give you the address to the location because it has to be underground.
Yeah, because
you know?
that's like the current modern representation of marketing shells versus back then. Like back then, you'd see the
Mhm.
poster on the light post or on a billboard, and then now like if you're subscribed, you're getting those announcements and like right at your email address.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, no, we have it good, bro.
Yeah,
back then, I think we talked about this. Where back then, you had to literally like make an effort to just figure out like what the phone number was to get the directions to the location.
You had to text all the homies and shit. Like,
you had to go on a whole ass scavenger hunt,
dude, there wasn't even texting back then. You had to literally, you literally had to go to like a payphone and like. Sometimes you didn't even know the number, bro. Like, oh, you fucked up. You don't know the number to call. Like,
you go to the payphone and like pick some.
You had to like
go to this.
We didn't have notes app. Like, motherfuckers had the like like pads, like the notepads and shit. They were just like writing shit down. Like, fuck. Crazy, like, yeah, it was a different way of living back then.
Yeah,
there was no like you think phones, none of that.
You think that also dictates what type of music they were listening to as well, like the type of technology that comes with, like
yeah. I mean, you've seen those old school videos, bro. Like, it's some funky shit, dude. Like,
you know what?
It's like some crazy like acid art, and then like with a nice like beat behind it. Like that's
legit. That was it. Yeah, that was a whole track for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. 5, 7, 10 minutes. Like they'd be long as hell.
On Molly. It's crazy.
Well, dude, when did Bloomhouse all started? Like, let's get into that. Like, did that all start along with when you first started getting into DJing?
No, Bloomhouse is a long process, bro. Like I fell in love with like the scene in 2017, but it took me like, I want to say I got the Bloomhouse name in 2021. And that's when I started D-Lo like through a show called Boston House. And so that was like kind of a collective. It was me, him, Gonzo, and Playboy Flames. You guys know Gonzo and Playboy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we all kind of started that, and that was my first show ever, bro. And so I was trying to think of a name, and then that name popped up. A Zillow ad came on my phone, and it's actual like place in Austin, Texas. It's called the Bloomhouse, bro. It looks like it's this crazy like architecture that was made in the 1970s, bro. But it's like this crazy like mushroom looking house. It kind of looks like the dog from Nightmare Before Christmas. It's crazy, bro. So it like popped up on my phone, and I was calling myself Golden Boy for a little bit, and then when the ad kept coming, and I looked, and it said Bloomhouse, and that just stuck out, and I was like, all right, bro, I'm gonna take that. I was like, I like that name a lot. So that's when Bloomhouse kind of like started, and then 2021 I had my first show, and then everything else from there kind of just went. So yeah, it's great.
I think I started seeing like hearing more of you as well, because I think you had recently. I think it's been maybe almost about a year ago. You had done a EP party over at the NOS Center album.
An album release show. Mm-hmm. So that was really cool, bro. That was like that whole album process, bro. Because I was like, if I'm gonna, wasn't really making anything, and I was like, if I really want to get into it, bro, like I need to like sit down and make a whole bunch of songs and see if I can do it. So then I started making like 1 and then 2 and then 3. And then I was like, fuck it, bro, I'll just make an album. So I made the whole thing. And that was kind of like the statement for me is like, okay, I really want this. If I'm able to like discipline myself and sit down in the studio and make that whole album, then I know I really want it. And then I like talked to Airbnb. I talked to Novocaine. I was like, hey, I want to throw my album release show. And they were like, let's do it. And that was pretty much it. So yeah, man, that one was fun. That was a cool show.
How long did the process of the album take you?
It took me... It took me most of 2022 up until like I finished the album like 3 months before the show. So like I finished my last song, like I had like a schedule for when I wanted to finish everything. And I was a little bit ahead, but then we had to do like the whole mix down and mastering process. And I don't really like have a whole lot of knowledge in that. Now it's a little bit better. But when I was making the album, like my whole album sounded like shit, dude. Like the kicks were clashing with the bass lines, like the highs were fucking horrible. And then once we sat down and like mix and master everything, then it.
And how many years of experience, or how much of a producer were you already like? Were you already just starting out, or you already had like years in?
I had kind of like after I went to Hard Summer in 2017, I had a laptop and I downloaded just like the Ableton Lite version. Right. It was just the trial version. And I made one song. It was called Anesthesia, bro. It was so bad, dude. It was so bad, but I put it out. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to wait. And I'm going to go to like a bunch of shows and then kind of like learn, like just from watching them, how they do it. And then I'll like kind of figure it out along the way. So I just like from 2017 to like 2020, I just was going to festivals. Like I was just watching everybody do this shit. And then finally in 2021, that's when I kind of like actually like started to like, okay, I'm going to sit down. I know the sound that I want. I'm going to go through the process and kind of learn it. So it was a lot of YouTube videos along with like my friends that were producing. I was kind of like asking them. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So.
Did you have like any other musical background beforehand? Did you?
No.
Nothing. So you were just
nothing, bro.
okay. That's crazy. That's
yeah,
insane.
nothing, bro.
Hey, like when you go into a DAW and you don't have no musical background, especially like with me, like I was like terrified when I first opened up like my
bro,
first session
scary.
of making music. I'm like, damn, like this ain't DJing. Like, because I'm coming from the only musical background I come from, if you want to like qualify, is like DJ background before I even got into producing.
Like in some instances,
yeah. Most people would say like, oh, like learning an instrument, bro. Like, so yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but yeah, I think for me,
DJing. I think DJ puts you in the musical background category.
Yeah, bro, because like you were probably looking at DJing like BPMs and like shit like that, like song structure too.
Right,
like,
right.
Looking at waveforms.
I'm the laptop boy. Yeah.
Yeah, the laptop boy, bro. Yeah.
The most important thing though, like when learning like a lot of instruments, is you got to count. You got to learn how to count music.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing DJing teaches you right off the bat.
I did learn that from DJing.
Yeah. So that puts you like steps ahead. You feel me? Knowing that at a young age, and then also like it taught us how like music has keys, and like it gave us the whole ideas of like that already. You know, a lot of people don't even know that still. Like,
yeah, bro. Yeah, keys and stuff. Like when I started DJing, I had opened up Ableton, but I didn't know shit about keys or nothing like that. Once I started DJing, then it was like, oh shit, like this is in the key of A minor, A major, you know, whatever. And so then that kind of like, I think DJing helped me out like a lot, like towards like getting into producing. I kind of knew like just a little bit more about BPMs and like keys and stuff like that. So I think it's good for you to have that like already off your belt.
Yeah. Let me ask you, we've talked about this I think the other day, Robert, but I want to know your thoughts like with like keys, writing melodies and making songs. Do you think at a certain point, like within the next like 5, 10, 20, 30 years, like we'll run out of like music ideas? You know, like as we get much more producers like creating and like releasing music, will we see a lot of music sounding a lot of like very similar? Like because you know we're starting to now come through an era now where you know we're seeing a lot of songs. You know, you starting to now use the same chord progressions from like previous songs that are released, and like I'm wondering if like we're gonna start seeing it more now that we're seeing a lot more artists and producers like in this era. How just because of how accessible this music is, do you think? Because music theory, you know, it's crazy. You know, they say like when you're like in this chord progression, you know, these certain notes like go well with this.
Right.
There's a certain creative music formula when you're looking at it from the music theory perspective. But I'm wondering, like, will we ever run out of creative ideas? Like, because you know, like I'm starting to see where a lot of music is starting to become like very similar in its melody or like in its chord progression.
Right.
Like especially like when these newer songs, like I'm hearing like the newer like songs, the way the basses are coming in. I'm just like, oh damn, like it's unique because of the artist and the way it's been engineered. But like this is kind of like sounding like what do you think about that? Like, do you think we'll be hearing a lot more songs sounding the same, or do you think like the creative ideas out there are infinite? Like, you think?
I think that creatively, I think that we can make things sound different, but I think the way, like, I'll take this as an example, right? So we all remember Flume's Tennis Court remix, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a bass line in the beginning of that song, and Deadmau5 released XYZ, and that same bass line is like almost exactly the same as Flume's. And that's when I started kind of thinking about that thing is like, I wonder if we're ever going to be able to make something that sounds new and like refreshing. I think creatively we can make stuff sound cool, but I think we will reach a peak where like keys are keys at the end of the day, you know, like, so I don't know if there will necessarily be any like new keys that'll pop up or chord progressions or anything like that, but I think we can make stuff that sounds like somewhat unique, you know, especially, sorry, go ahead. the AI stuff about like making like AIs are making everything at this point, you know, now and now they're starting to make music.
Yeah, bro. Like I stopped making music. I use AI now.
You just pop it in, put it in chat GPT, make me an incision sounding song, bro. Like, yeah, it's like
Okay, so like you said decision, right? I think it's new ideas. I think new artists and will create new sounding music just because, like, especially in dubstep,
Mhm.
like that's all synthesized like that's all sounds that don't exist.
Yeah.
Period. Like a
Mhm.
lot of those sounds don't really exist, and
Right.
someone had to come up with that. A computer can't just come up with it, put it kick and snare in
Right.
with a sub, and like they can't come up with anything brand new like that, and us fucking be like, oh, this is
100%.
dope. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
it needed to have some sort of like influence from like a human, because we're what dictates what is good, pretty much. You know, like
Right.
I don't think like we're gonna get some shit from an AI and it's gonna sound just as good as a Marauder track.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't see it. Maybe it'll sound like a Marauder track, but like,
but it won't have that like human touch.
and
to
then
it.
also like, which like think about Marauder specifically. Each track he puts out, it's fucking crazy. It's even different from the last one.
Yeah.
And like it sounds like nothing the same. And I'm just like, bro, like how do you keep doing this? I don't think a laptop would have been able to create a new Marauder track. You feel me?
Right.
Like I feel like it would maybe give you like a generic sounding shit, but I don't think it'd give you anything new and fresh. You feel me? I think that's where all of us come in.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is like if we take it back to like when people were first making music and like how we're making music now, probably when we're old, there's gonna be like a whole new way of making music and like new things. So we don't know either. Like maybe there will be something different.
Okay, I believe that. You know what? I also believe too. Like in some cases, I think parallel thinking, like actually does come into play a lot too. Because I have seen cases where, or maybe I think like in some of my past tracks, I've seen like maybe a track or two like that I've released, and then like maybe like a year or two later come across a track that's kind of like has the same bass pattern as like my drop, or like the same melody like pattern, or very similar. Like I'm just like, damn, like, because sometimes it makes you think like, wow, like it's crazy to think that as a creative, like there's another creative out there that, as we like to think, there's so many infinite creative melodies and bass lines out there. Like,
Right.
there's like in a creative connection, like another artist like was able to kind of similar put the pieces like in a track almost like similar to you. Because
Yeah.
I remember releasing a track and then looking at one of the artist's tracks, and I was like, damn, like this track kind of sounds like something I just made. Or but but sometimes I'm like, damn, like, because sometimes you think like, damn, like, okay, like this person released this before me, so like this person already had the idea before me.
Right.
So I'm just like, damn, like, but I never came across the idea. So
Yeah.
so like, but then I'm thinking like, damn, like if another person knows about my track and then this track, they can easily blame me for thinking that I stole this person's track.
But they're not the same track.
Right.
No, right. It's not the same track. So it's not the same track, right? So like it's one of those things where, like, damn, like I can see a lot of parallel thinking happening too in music, where like the other artist just doesn't know the existence of another track, and two tracks sounding like very similar.
Yeah,
close to each other.
Because even like with that XYZ and the tennis court remix, like Deadmau5 probably wasn't like, oh yeah, I heard that in fucking Flume songs, I'm gonna put it in here. He's probably just making it.
Because I don't think he's the kind of producer to do that. Like he's the kind of person to be like, nah, I'm gonna do my own shit. Like he's preached that, like,
bro.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's a good thing though. At the same time, right? Like maybe some people will like your version more.
It's not bad,
some
right?
People will like that version more. You feel me? Like think about like with beers, bro. Some beers might taste the same, but I like this one better than that one. Like it just all comes down to who's listening to it and who's likes who's more. You know.
I like the way this kick sounded in this version.
Right.
I like the way,
And like, and this is where I was thinking too. Like, are these new versions bad? Like of like the recreations of like some of the old ones, right? Like,
right. Oh, okay. Like for an example, we're talking about like the David Guetta, like I'm Bad, like.
Okay, I don't want to use that one specifically because that one sucks. Like I don't like that shit at all.
Right, for sure.
But like, okay, but some of these songs, like some of our iconic like EDM tracks, right, came out like in the 90s, right? and they were so limited at the technology and how it sounded back then, right?
Mhm.
How would you feel if, like, in a couple years, someone made like something similar to those tracks, but now it sounds super fresh, super clean? It just has like one note off or something, you know? Some shit
Right.
people do to like get away from like copyrights and what is just like moving one key, so it's not the same. But like, I don't know if I'd necessarily be mad at it, just because I'm like, oh damn, y'all giving me that older feeling, but like
Right.
with the new,
But you're
like,
updating.
No,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think I really like that. And like, as technology gets fucking better, like we're just gonna keep hearing better versions of like shit we already liked. Some shit
Yeah.
might be ass, don't get me wrong, like that David Guetta shit, but like, but some shit's
Throwing
good,
that shade
you
at
know?
David
Like,
Guetta.
Hey, David Guetta, if you're trying to hop on the podcast, let us know and shit. Hell yeah. Well,
nah. I don't want
That's
David Guetta
funny,
here,
bro.
fam. I'm just kidding.
Man.
I like you.
No, but I
Really?
think it goes with anything though, right? Like even that beer example is a really good example. Like because there always be like a formula to create beer, right? Like
Yeah.
as companies will say like dog shit water comes out and it's like a beer brand. They have the same formula as like this brand over here, you know, but it's just the way that they rebrand it or make it refreshing. It's like right now, like what I would like to do is I think psytrance and trance has gotten like pretty stale in the sense I haven't heard anything new. Like I listened to a lot of trance and I don't hear anything like that goes, oh, this is different. Like this is cool. So like what I would like to do is start trying to like implement that into my tracks. It's like making trance sound brand new, fresh, like how we were talking about future rave. So like kind of like the same thing like that, you know, it's like it's same formula, but just updating it. So I think we can always do that.
yeah, well, it's like what's making it fresh, you know? Like it'd
I
be
don't
like a lot of
know,
it'd be
bro.
like maybe the song quality of it, or like adding like like another key fundamental instrument to it.
Yeah, something that just you wouldn't like normally do, you know, like there's a lot of producers out here who would take like a techno track and they'll just do like the general thing that techno tracks usually sound like, you know, they got the kick, they got the hat that comes in, they have this like acid in the back. But then say like your producer is like, I want to think out of the box on this techno track. I'm just gonna like change the key on it. Like normally how it's laid out, I'm gonna try and like shift it a bit and then see if this works. And then it's just through that trial and error, and then I guess that's how you would update something or make it seem fresh, even though it's like maybe just the same formula, but just something like new on it. Then maybe that would be a way, I guess. But I don't know.
I think using different synths, you know, like is like a bit like I'll use the same like chord progression and everything. I'll use everything the same, right? Like the keys, the notes, the melody, it's the same almost, but I'm gonna be using different synths through new synthesizers, through like just new technology pretty much. And I think that's what separates older shit from newer shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I think too, like it depends. Like some people won't like it just because some people do fall in love with like the way the old shit sounds, you know? Like
Right.
there's some people that like the way like vocals used to crack like in 90s music and shit like that.
Yeah.
Some people like that old like vinyl crackling sound, you feel me? Like so like a lot of people might not like the new reversions of shit, but I think like I bet if you're a younger kid today, I bet you think that David Guetta track slaps. You feel me? Like I don't know.
Because that's what I'm wondering. Because right now, I feel like more than ever, the resampling of old traditional classic songs are being remodernized, especially with these bigger artists. And like I'm always wondering like what the influence is looking like with the younger generation. Like, do they not respect, but do they like more the newer modernized version of David Guetta's "I'm Blue," or do they like the Eiffel version, the original one, "I'm Blue"? Or you know, it's like But the thing that's cool. The only thing that I think really like that I pay attention to with these resampling is that it gives like the current like because a lot of these resampling classics, like for example, like going back to the David Guetta "I'm Blue" track, "I'm Bad," whatever. They push that to the pop audience, right? So the pop audience is able to
100%, bro.
Is able to go back to the original track if they never knew about the original track and be like, oh, like I thought David Guetta made an original, but it's not the case. Like he resampled this original song called "I'm Blue," and
right.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, honestly, like if you were a kid in the 2000s. I mean, you heard I'm Blue. Big Fat Liar. You heard the fucking track
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
Blue.
Yeah, bro.
Big Fat Liar. If you watch Big Fat Liar, you heard I'm Blue. It was when David Guetta wasn't around making that track at that time.
No.
Yeah, anyways, Big Fat Liar. That's all I had to say, bro. That's like sick ass movie.
Because everyone knows I listened to that when I was. That's like our. So of course, like our generation is gonna be kind of like pissed off, be like, bro, that's just ass, bro.
So
like we like the original.
I get. I'm speaking specifically for that song.
I'm resampling Zombie Nation.
Like, I think that song "I'm Blue." Like, I don't. Nah, maybe I was just too young, but I don't remember ever listening to that song. Just to listen to it.
Fucking.
Wow, not did I.
I listened to that song, bro. I would be like sitting there gaming on my computer, and I would be listening to it. I'm like. So I know that was like, so when he came out with that, bro, like it's a pop song for sure, but like David gets he's a pop producer, bro. Like he's, you know what I mean? Like he produces so much pop, dude. So like it was kind of annoying to like, I don't know. I also watched an interview with David Guetta where it's like the Eiffel 65 is also getting like listens on their old track. Like
yeah, I mean, so it's like it's a win-win for the original group, right?
So they're happy about it. Like they're good with it.
And you know, it's funny that they use like those kinds of resamples. Like they use David Guetta a lot. Like they had used David Guetta for another. I think it was a feature with Kelly Rowland. When Love Takes Over, they had resampled Clock Play.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they resampled Clock Play. I forgot which track, but it was a.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and David Guetta had resampled that shit with another artist, Kelly Rowland. It's called When Love Takes Over, and I remember this was like 2011, 2012. I remember like just like thinking about this concept of resampling. I'm like, damn, like what the hell, like. This shit sounds like the Clock Play track, but why? Like, how come this was able to use it like as an official? Like, I didn't know about.
David Guetta's so big, like, bro. He probably has connections up the fucking ass. To
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like a lot of the big artists, like they'll have no problem. Like they'll just be like, hey, like go tell their manager, like go hit up fucking whoever, see if I can sample this, and that artist would be like, well, I'm not fucking making music right now. Sure, I would like the free shout out, you know, with someone with that big of a platform. You know what I mean? So.
I know a lot of those tracks. Okay, so this is how I think a lot of those tracks happen. Because a lot of those tracks that are made, especially the I'm Blue one, all of those people are signed to a label, right?
Right.
So I think what had happened was David Guetta has a bunch of those. I think just David Guetta has a library of just a bunch of sampled fucking. Yeah, no, and I think artists on that label get sent a pack with David Guetta's shit. And they're like, you could pick one of these beats, and a lot of those beats are just because David Guetta is signed to a label. He's given so like, I don't know if you guys ever been to like just a studio, right? Like any studio, usually they have a folder with their own packs, samples, everything they've recorded pretty much from there. They'll have their own shit. Same thing with these labels. These labels have packs from. Because they own masters for a lot of music, right? So for the On Blue tracks, they own the masters. So they have the master samples, bro. They have all that shit. So they're able to say, hey, David Guetta, here, come to our studio, take all these samples, do whatever the fuck you want, right?
Yeah.
And that's what he does. So he gets all these fucking dope ass samples and shit. And he's like, all right, I'm making a mix of this today. So he just
I'm gonna get of this shit.
The thing though, bro, too, is right now, the thing that like, the cool part about like us being in this generation, right, is we have all this like music from back then that we can resample, like make better. But I feel like now we don't really have, like, I don't hear like a Titanium song, like, or like something like that big at this point. Like, there's not really that songs that like pop off like that like our kids like eventually will probably be like, oh yeah, I remember that when I was a kid, like, you know.
Well,
like,
I think Marshmallow plays a big part if we're talking about like the generation of young, like the influence of the younger generation. Like, I don't know how much young you're talking about, but I think Calvin Harris, like, I think kind of plays a. Like, you know, there's some. It's just some like, people out there. You know,
there's just not like a crazy amount of like that stuff now, but that's because like it's so oversaturated at this point. You know what
I think also like is making music not evolving. Is the easy accessibility that everyone
it's
has
so
to it.
easy,
So
bro.
everyone's using the same samples, everyone's using the same technology,
Right.
everyone's using the same packs and shit like that. You feel me? So the only people that are really like stepping this forward are the people that aren't using all the same packs. The people
Yep.
that are like actual like musicians or something.
Or
because
like sound designers. Like
yeah,
stuff like
because
that,
they're the ones that want to hear new shit, and they're the ones that want to hear what's not there, you know, like
right.
opposed to people that are using the same synths that everyone's using, like they get presets and whatnot, which there's nothing bad with using any of that, right?
No,
But
no. Yeah.
that's I think the gap between like
Right.
the evolving stuff that
Yeah.
that a lot of people want. We're still getting good quality music, don't get me wrong, like really good music, you feel me? But we're just not, I don't know, it's making us the evolution's like slower, because I think before
Yeah.
we were so limited to the sounds and stuff, so we were really like,
Oh, this is brand new.
yeah, we were banging out all the possibilities of everything, but now everything's here, and now we're just like have samples and shit. Like
Yeah.
everyone has like the same drum loops and shit, or have the same drum kicks and whatnot. Everyone has
Right.
like the same fucking claps or whatever. Everyone's using the same presets for a lot of their synths, but like that's why some artists do like using the fucking analog, because not a lot of us have the accessibility to analogs. You feel me?
Yeah. Which I mean, we have plugins and stuff that we can use that are act like a synthesizer, and they basically do the same thing. But I think it's different when you actually have that like piece of hardware that's like you can literally make a brand new song. I have a friend who he just started like getting into producing, but he has like just this little tiny analog synthesizer, bro. It's like $200, but it makes the craziest fucking sounds, bro. I've never heard shit like that before. I'm like, so that's cool, bro. Like that there's still that stuff out there that you can like do that. But I think you actually, if you want to get to like big levels, like how these big artists are, I think that's what it is. I think that's the like the missing like kind of component is like we can take guys like ISOXO, right? ISOXO is just fucking like using this same formula, but he's just making like his own shit and making it so fucking hype, the way that he performs it, like all that stuff. So I think that's key too. Just not as many people are like popping up and being like, oh dude, this guy's making something different in this guy. But you're right, you know, it's because everyone's using the same fucking sample packs and all that shit, you know. So
and it's good still, it's just
it's
like,
good, it's just not super different.
yeah,
like as music artists, we should hold ourselves responsible to
Trying to make
like you said,
But-
try to find ways to refresh it, but also not also ignore like the whole resampling and make, because I think that's also very cool to see like from an artist like re-amplify like
you know what I think
an older
it is?
model or older song that was out there.
Yeah.
Another track with the artist.
I also think like we kind of have to use a lot, well, we don't have to, but like a lot of people do like use a lot of some similar samples and some similar sounds, because like that's what people want to hear sometimes, you know. And like
Right.
you can't just out the gate start making wild different shit sometimes, because people won't really understand it, you know.
Gotta hook 'em.
There's
So,
like a very
exactly.
fine line, bro, because if you go over that line, like you can make some whack sounding shit, bro,
Yeah.
and be like, bro,
So-
this is different. I'm gonna be listening to that track and being like, yeah, bro, this is different.
But,
this,
you know-
this is for sure different, bro.
But someone like a Skrillex could drop some shit like that, and
Yeah.
all of us be like, "Fuck." You feel
Yeah,
me?
bro. Yeah.
It's because he eased his way to that position. I think like he gave us a lot of palatable shit. You feel me? So
And
I
we
think
trust him as a curator to know what shit is good. Like
so
he's
at first
he's gone.
So like I think a lot of people like at first they see that shit, and like at first they just ease into like, all right, let's just make some shit that people will like. You feel me? And then like after I get like a core fan base or something like that,
Then I can start kind of dabbling.
yeah, then I could go
Yeah.
left. But if I just go left right away, bro, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna get a fan base. You know, like
I mean, and may not be like the biggest fan base right away. Like you might just be. That's why like you see a lot of these artists strategically come out with their releases like in the beginning, like maybe not originally what they wanted to be as an artist, like representing themselves. But then
Right.
like a year or two later, once they have the fan base, then you start seeing like in their Twitter, like, oh, like this is the music that I've been really wanting to push. Like this is the right time for it. Like type
Right.
shit. It's like, oh, okay, I see what the game
Okay.
plan.
Well,
was.
there's some like examples of that too. Like you guys know Getter?
yeah,
Yeah.
Getter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
You're okay. Remember when he came out with with Visceral.
Yeah.
Okay, bro, he got such bad. You guys remember he like shut down the show and everything, bro? Like that's
He canceled his tour, right?
yeah, bro. He canceled it because people were throwing water bottles at him and everything, bro. Like that's crazy. Like I thought Visceral, like I thought it was good, bro. Like it definitely wasn't. Like,
No, it was good,
it
but
was super good, bro. But
I think we've talked about this before, right? But I think the reason like that show specifically went bad is because he wasn't previewing the music, right? And he wasn't
Right.
telling people that, oh, I'm not gonna be playing dubstep and shit like that.
right,
And I think all his fans are expecting that, and that's not what
Yeah.
he gave them really. So I think that's
so they
why,
were pissed.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think once people saw that reaction on Twitter to his show, people correlated to that, saying, "Oh, that music sucked too."
Yeah,
When in reality,
bro.
that was never the case. The music was never bad.
Yeah, it was never bad, bro.
It was just the show
just-
expectation was not what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, but as an artist, bro, you gotta like, or as like a fan of an artist, you gotta like kind of respect like that they're not always gonna want to make the same shit. Like they may get bored of the same shit that they're making, so they might want to step out. Like Flume, fucking that whole album that he put out, it sounds like just a bunch of sounds to me, bro. Like it's good.
Palaces?
Still. Yeah, Palaces. It's just
That shit's amazing.
bro. It's so good, but it's not like his old shit. But like as a fan of him, like I'm not gonna be like, dude, fuck you, you needed to. Am I allowed to cuss?
No, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
all right, all right,
Nah,
cool.
bro. Nah, we gotta bleep that.
You get the bleep on there. Yeah, like I'm not.
You lost his income, bro. Just playing, dude.
You start getting all those down. But yeah, bro, I don't know. Like I would never like be like, fuck you, Flume. I wish you were making. I'm blanking on his old shit. What's his old like album or EP? I don't know. Basically, just his old shit. But I would never like. I'd never be throwing water bottles at him because he's making new shit. Like it all sounds good.
Yeah.
Like, so just as a fan, like you got to remember that like artists are people too, bro. Like they're not machines just gonna make the same music you want every single time.
Yeah, but you know what? I also think that I feel like sometimes artists need to know that fans are also people too, and that they're not obligated to stick around.
Yeah.
And because hear me out, because there's a lot of artists, there's a lot of artists that were like really like I'll give some not specific examples, but there's like an example like there's a lot of artists that were popping like in dance music several years ago.
Right.
And then now they complain about how their fan base ditched them for like the current sound and blah blah blah. And they say that their fan base like disloyal, blah blah blah. You know, like they start talking bad about the fan base that ditched them, right? And I'm just like, well,
you can't really diss them either.
You can't really diss the audience if you're not really giving them what they originally liked you for.
Bro, I showed up for dubstep. You gave me some future bass shit, like, and like some off future bass shit. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
What do you expect me to do here, bro? Like, I really came for some head banging, like aggressive shit. Like, bro, I just got drunk and fucking smoked hella. Like, I'm here to go wild, and now I'm just chilling, bro. now I'm getting a headache. Like, you feel me? Like, that's how some people are looking at that shit. You know,
I feel like you'll still have like those, like the core people. They'll stay.
Sure.
They'll stay.
For sure.
But like, if you have like a big ass fan base and like a majority of them doesn't like the new shit you're making, you just gotta kind of eat that. I feel like if you're gonna make something different, take that step, but know like the repercussions from it.
Just throw some of those tracks in, bro. You don't have to play a whole set where it's just the album, bro. Like that's what happened. He pretty much did like a whole album release play. You feel me? And like,
but then there's people like fucking Porter Robinson who, like his new sound is like
amazing,
crazy different than his like old shit. But none of his fans were complaining.
That's how he branded himself. Though.
Yeah, and like it's one of those things where it messes me up because it really like it brings out a lot of like the loyalty of fans between an artist and a fan. Like it seems to me like when Porter Robinson releases something, it's fucking support all the time. Like it's always just like, bro. Yes, like whatever Porter's on, like we on this shit 100%. So like I wish I could love to see this energy with fan bases with other artists, but we don't see that a lot because especially like not just EDM but in hip hop we start seeing like fan bases say like, oh man, like I wish this artist was making music like when back in 2018 or back in back when I fell in love with them on SoundCloud. Like it's just like dude, like expect, like don't assume the artist is gonna like stay in its same style like all the time. But as an artist, but as an artist, don't assume that like your fans that originally liked you for what you were doing originally gonna stick around for the new stuff. Like especially like me as an artist, whenever I do like, especially like I'm primarily a bass music producer, but I've had catalog that's house, and I've always thought to myself when I'm releasing this shit, I'm like, damn,
Bass house.
That style, and I'm just like, like I want to release this, but also like I don't know that people are gonna dig it because a lot of people that like latched on to me personally liked a lot of the bass stuff.
Right.
So when you try to like go out of left, I guess like in that perspective, like it's definitely one of those things you got to make a decision. Like as an artist, like okay, like
are you going this direction now?
I'm going this direction, and like you said, like whatever the repercussions of it is, like how the fan base reacts to it, like I'm gonna eat it up. Like not everyone's gonna like what I originally like at the time, and I just gotta eat it up. But the people that
stick with you, they'll stick with you, bro. Like,
but there'll be possibly newer fans that will latch onto that you wouldn't have gotten if you like stay to the core, your core concept, right? So I think every now and then it's good to get some of the taste, get other taste to come into your brand.
And I think it's cool too, like as an artist, if you're making the same thing over and over and over again, but then like you decide, okay, like I kind of want to like dip into this sound a little bit. I think that's cool too for you as an artist because then you're not making the same shit. So then if you do like come back into making the same stuff you were making, like you have a fresh ear to it basically, and you'll be able to make something even better. So I would say like if I was to do that, I'd probably, if I wanted to, if like I would like to just make psytrance, all right, but say I wanted to make like a tech house song, I'd probably just release like one, and then I'd probably just go back to what I was making before. Like I'd probably just try to balance it out. So I'm still like trying to get some of this, like some new ears in here, but then also keep like all the heads that were like supporting me in the beginning. That's probably how I would do it if I were to do it. But I think I'm pretty happy with trance and psytrance. I like that sound a lot. So.
Is that what you're gonna be pushing a lot more?
Yeah, a lot more. I got the Aunt Juna, bro.
Oh, look at that, man.
Yeah, that's like a dream label I want, bro. So I kind of want to go for more of that sound, but I just want to do it differently, not too different, but try to update it a bit and try to make myself stand out a little bit more, because I feel like, especially in like our area, bro, trance is like there's not really a lot of trance around here. So I kind of want to bring that to US, bro, because it's just always given me a good feeling, and I feel like, it would be cool. It would be cool to see more shows.
Because the only shows that are really produced out here, like in the IE, that brings trance is really Insomniac with the Dream State stuff, right?
That's and even then, they don't get sold out, bro. Like
I've noticed the Cliffs, there is not a full packed floor. Not, at least, and we're talking about San Bernardino IE area. I don't know about any other like trance festivals out there, but
San Diego gets popping with trance.
Yeah, there's like, it's just like very selective. Like San Diego is a good place, and I think other than that, maybe like Washington, but like,
let me ask you this, because I'm not really that big of a trance. Like I don't really listen to trance like that.
Right.
But what's the appeal for you for trance music? Like, what is it for you?
Fuck, I don't, bro. Like just I saw I can't remember what artist I was watching. It was an Insomniac show, but they were playing trance, and I just felt like all the sounds, like I wasn't on anything, I just was like there, and it made me feel so good, bro. And then after that, I was just like, dude, like this is a cool sound, bro. Like I really like how just uplifting it makes me feel. It's a lot of like these like super long intros, which is what I like to make. I'm gonna try to shorten them down a bit, because sometimes I feel like they're too long. Like you might lose a listener if your intros are too long, bro. Like, but yeah,
no, you're right.
But that's pretty much it, bro. I just like the psytrance is a little bit different, because I just like the fast beat. It's like techno, but like 170 or 160 BPM. It just has like these crazy like little like shamans in the bag and shit like that. So that's just what I like about psytrance and trance, bro. It's uplifting, and then psytrance is just super fast, bro. So
no, I
think that's the appeal. But like that's the thing, is I feel like most people like don't really understand it like that. So I would like to try to like head front that and be like, look, this is cool too, bro. Like it has like a lot of cool stuff that like are similar to different like umbrella genres in the EDM like atmosphere. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. It's more popular in Europe for sure, but I would definitely like to bring it to the US. So
okay. So that's gonna be what you're mainly focused on going forward.
Yeah.
Have you stepped into other genres?
Hardstyle a little bit, bro. I like hardstyle a lot. and then I was kind of dabbling in dubstep a little bit, but I didn't want to go like veer off too far off the path. I don't want to start learning something and then be like, I want to first like get my grounds with trance and psytrance and then kind of like experiment and everything else, because I don't want to like try and learn like a whole nother genre and then be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna start making this now and then just switch it up like before I even, you know what I mean? So, but other than that, yeah.
For sure. Going back to how we were talking about like easing your, or well, like making a total left with your music. I think it comes over time, like showing your audience what you can make. Like out of one track, you can't. Out of 3 tracks, you can't really like show like, oh, I make everything, or I know how to make. You know, like
Yeah,
I think it comes after like years of you releasing, or like months of you just releasing out a bunch of like different music and releasing it in a like in a way you care about it, right? Because like
right.
that's something that I'm realizing now, is that you got to show people with every release like you care about every track, like as if it's
Exactly.
like your favorite track, pretty much. Like that's
Right.
how you have to show every track.
Mhm.
And you know, for the most part, it's kind of like that, right? But
Right.
like you gotta, fuck, I forgot where I was going with that.
Not veering out.
Oh yeah, you gotta like ease people in. So like after like a few years, right? Like your audience will be like, oh, you don't just make house music, you don't just make trance, like
Right.
you make good just music.
Just good music, like
Just
overall.
good music
Yeah.
overall, you feel me? And like if that's what you want to brand yourself as, then like that's gonna come over time. Because like after the first few releases of, let's see, I'm trying to think of an artist like a Nitty Gritty. After his first like few tracks and stuff, you probably just thought he could only do one things, but then it came after him like years of producing, where he started like just making everything pretty much, and you're just like, oh, okay, like you're an artist that could do anything. But like he got a core fan base, and then after a while, like
He
you
started
know, like,
easing him into it a little
and
bit.
even like a Porter Robinson, bro, like at first he wasn't making no like weird crazy
Nah,
shit, bro.
bro.
Like at first he was making some upbeat progressive like festival shit, you feel me? Like
Right.
that's how he started, and then he started veering, you feel me? So
Yeah.
like there's a way to ease, I feel like, your
There's a way to
fan
do
base.
it. Like even Skrillex, bro. Like
Facts.
Skrillex is fucking crazy. Like he was making like monsters. That's like a whole different sound than what he's making now. But like, you know, he's so like validated at this point that people just accepted the new sound, you know, and he like would just like stayed in the studio and he fucking did his thing. He disappeared for a little while and he came back with just all these like bangers. Like, and what's kind of like popular right now too. I feel like you kind of have to follow that algorithm probably as an artist too if you want things to really pop also.
I think the smartest thing he did was collabing with a bunch of people that are like
Fred again, bro, and Fortet, bro.
You know, a lot of people are starting going back to like people getting into techno. A lot of these techno heads are starting, like older like techno artists are starting to like either you're starting to see back to backs with a lot of the new artists. Like Fred again just recently went back to back with some, I'm forgetting her name. Something with a V, I believe. But it's a girl, and she's like a techno, like a big techno head. Like she's
like a legend, huh?
Yeah, she's been in the game for a minute, but like because like she's getting the back to back with Fred again, like she's kind of getting reintroduced to like the game again. You feel me? And like that's what a lot of like, if you want to stay, not, I don't want to stay relevant, but if you want to like get into the new sound, partner with some of these new people, you know, like
100%.
See what they have to bring. And you know, I want to hear a fucking, I don't know, like Sydney Sampson and fucking A-Craze track. Like I'm down for that shit.
Yeah, bro, that would be
like you
sick.
feel me? That'd be insane. Like, you know,
yeah.
Like A-Track, I don't know, A-Craze is a newer artist, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, like
I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with everything. I'm excited for it though, bro. Like this, like I'm excited to hear the new sounds that are gonna start coming out and like trying to get inspired by stuff and all that.
Nah, bro, you're gonna be the one making these new sounds.
I hope so, bro. It would be cool, bro. It would be dope. So what do you guys you produce too?
Yeah.
What do you guys mainly like? It's more dubstep, right?
Well, primarily for me, like bass music.
Oh, he just said bass house, huh?
Bass music, like
Bass music.
yeah.
Okay. And then you?
like dubstep, trap, and then as of lately, fucking drum and bass. Like,
Yeah, bro, drum and bass is sick. Fucking David Zikes, bro. I fuck with that dude, bro. His drum and
shout
bass
out.
is, yeah, bro.
He goes off.
Yeah, he goes off, bro. I want him to produce, bro, because I feel like
I was just about to say that, like, you know, a lot of these people, like, I'm just waiting for him to, because I don't think he has catalog out there yet, right?
No,
or
not
maybe
yet.
that I don't know, but
no, not
like,
yet.
I want to know, like,
He would do it, bro.
Because I've always thought about certain people. I'm like, damn, you have great taste. If you were a producer, like, I could see you making some shit. Like,
Yeah, bro.
like because it always comes down to taste. See that, you know, I always
does,
feel
bro.
like
It
I'm just
does.
like, yeah, like I like if you were in creative controls, if you were the captain of that particular ship, like I could have seen you like taking
making-
this track into this particular like turn.
Right.
I could see you making these kinds of tracks, like
Yeah.
and like yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm hoping that a lot of these like people like David and the rest of these people with great taste, you know, they go into production and
Yeah.
you know
100%.
get experimenting, you know, with the sounds that you know they come across.
Yeah, like even I mean you guys everyone that I'm gonna mention you guys have had on here, but just Supreme and Impulse also. Like they're
Facts.
like once they start producing too,
Game over.
it's fucking cool, bro. Like I'm excited because you just hear that the taste that they have, and you know that they're gonna like if they were behind it and like producing something, they have that ear already. You know,
Right, yeah.
it's like for when I was talking to like D'Lo and I was like pushing him to produce. You know, like he already had the ear, he already had the music, and then he started making it, and it was kind of matching up. You know, like obviously he's got like a while to go, but because he already has that ear, it's just gonna help him like twice as much. You know what I mean? So I think it's gonna be cool, bro. I'm excited for all these underground DJs to start producing too. It takes a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it, bro. Like when you're playing, like when you play an original or you play an original, like that shit feels fucking awesome because it's your song, bro. Like it's so cool, bro. I remember the first time I played my first song, and it was the first one I ever made was Liquid Funk Dance, but a really shitty song, bro. But when I played it, I was like, all right, bro, this is like the feeling that like these big guys started out when they were little, like having their first track and playing it live. It's just a whole different thing when it's your track because you're hearing it over the big speakers. Like, damn, dude, like I made that track.
And it's other people listening to it too, like a
Yeah.
lot of strangers, and you know, like they're entitled to whatever reaction they want, like at that time, like fuck it.
And it's scary, bro, but it's cool to see like when you get a good reaction too, like on your track, it's like, all right, like I was thinking correct, you know, like this is gonna be good. So yeah, man, I don't know.
But also too, like I like to think that sometimes a lot of tracks that we make, or some tracks that we make are not like live setting, like
Right.
oriented, you know?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I know some catalog that I make. It's more so like for music playback.
Gotcha.
Like you know, like there's a lot of music that I have, but there's only a few songs that I know that kind of make sense for like a DJ set.
Right.
So you know, and a lot of times, you know, I don't really realize it. Sometimes until I play the song, I'm like, oh, okay, like this seems more like a playback, like maybe not for a live setting, like
Yeah, bro. I have that whole album, and I play 2 songs off the whole album. Everything else I don't even play live. So
There's definitely a difference between like live music you play live and then music you make basically for streaming, right?
yeah.
Like there's definitely a difference, especially with music streaming now. Like a lot of music that you could put on DSPs, they don't necessarily like need they need to be for the listener mostly. You feel me? Like that's like when you're listening to shit like off Spotify and all that. That's mostly for people just for any setting. It doesn't not just for party settings. A lot of the time when especially EDM producers, when we're making music, we're making shit for the party specifically.
Right.
So a lot of our music won't even get really played through like just regular everyday play just because it's made to be party music, you know?
Right. And then that's kind of like, I guess the cool part though is like if you make an EP, you could have some songs that you know, all right, this will play really good live, but then you have like some songs on that EP that just like, well, I'm on a drive, you know, I'm just gonna pop that shit on, and that's kind of what it like it's centered for. So there's that too. I think it's really cool. Like there's a lot of cool shit that you can do with music, like between live settings and stuff like that. But I don't think even like probably even Skrillex makes that whole album he plays probably maybe like half of it, because some of it's not like you listen to it and you're like, bro, I can't imagine this in a live setting. And, you know, you don't really hear it, but the songs that like pop off, you hear it. Like I hear like Turn Out the Lights, like that's a really good song, bro, with Ferdigan. That it's just like when you listen to it, you know that would play really good live. You know,
Right.
with where other songs it's kind of just like, this is cool to just listen to, bro. It's just like really like good like chill music.
Yeah, you know, and now that I'm thinking about it, like it must suck to be like a real hardcore fan of an artist, wanting to hear all those songs performed live, and then realizing like, oh damn, like now I see why like certain artists just have like maybe their set list doesn't like really entail like the full length of their album. Like it's just like their
Right.
highlights or like just the songs that make sense for the live
For the
setting.
live
Or
setting.
you know, even like again, like depending on where they're playing, like the set list could change up.
Right.
Like especially for sure.
Yeah,
like they could like
100%.
maybe they're not playing for a party, like they're playing for something else, and now
Right.
like they got that other songs in the album that's now more fitting for their
live
location
setting,
or
yeah.
whatever.
I think it goes down to like what you want to do as a like, because at the end of the day, like us DJing, like it's a performance. So like, do we want to have the crowd dancing or do we want to have them like watching a performance? You know?
Yeah, because I think that's the thing, bro. Like as a DJ, like you always want like your set to go so good, bro, that people walk away being like, damn, dude, that was a good ass set. You know, you don't want to be like, oh, that was cool, like we listened to some music and then
Yeah, you don't want people
Yeah.
saying like, damn, I
Yeah.
should have been at the other stage.
Yeah, for real.
Like, damn, we really went to the crowd for this. We
Yeah,
really went to
bro.
the front for this.
Yeah, I think that's like the best part about performing though, is like is creating, knowing that like if you're like prepping a set, I think like as artists get bigger, like obviously they don't have time to like totally prep a set, but some artists do. And I think that's like the cool thing, is like prepping that set and being like, I know the crowd's gonna go crazy for this one. Like I've had shows where I prepped a set and I know that they were gonna go crazy and they went crazy for it. And it was like the coolest feeling to put out that work into it and then like walk away and being like, damn, you know, like people didn't come and say what's up to me, but they were moving the whole time, and that's cool too, you know. But that's basically our job, man, to make people dance, have a good time.
Are you scared of AI taking jobs from DJs and shit like that? You been hearing about shit like that?
Yeah, I've been looking into the AI stuff with the chat GBT or whatever. I haven't looked like too much into it, but AI's coming, bro. Like AI's coming no matter what. So I'm not
I'm
really
better
like,
than AI. Fuck
yeah,
that.
we'll all just form up as humans, bro. We'll take them down. But I don't know, man. I think it's just the way that like life is progressing, bro. Like, you know, at first we were probably monkeys and now we're humans. And now there's gonna be robots walking around, you know what I mean?
Like he's my human baby and he's my cyber baby.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I don't know what the future is gonna look like, bro. Like it's interesting, like when we're old cats, like it's gonna be crazy for us to look at
Like,
everything.
dude,
that's
imagine
going
like the CDJ removing like the actual like jog wheel and it's a
Uh-huh.
digital jog wheel now.
That's
on. And
lit.
it's just,
Damn.
bro, that would be crazy.
Or it's it's like one of those like holograms where the CDJ like it's like a laser hologram and then like it's just like on some
Tron
some
shit.
yeah, Star Wars like
yeah, bro.
It's just gonna be
man.
an iPad with fucking 4 little things underneath it to place it.
Yeah, bro.
Fucking
I don't know, man. I think it makes me nervous, but then it's like it's cool because we're watching the like what it's gonna kind of the future is gonna look like for after, you know, we die or whatever, you know. So it's cool, like for at least from my perspective, to kind of see everything change. I don't know.
I could say this though, like it's gonna. How do I say this the right way? So we're considered like programmers, like as the way we produce. So I was listening to a podcast and the one of the person was a rapper and the other person was an engineer, but also a musician, and he also makes his own music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about chat GBT and they were talking about all the AI, like the new voices from people, you know, like all that stuff. And there was 2 arguments, right? The producer, the engineer was on the side of like, I like it. Like it's gonna give me as an engineer like more tools that I can utilize to make my music better and all this other things. Whereas
right.
the rapper was saying, yeah, but like that's not like live music. Like I see you as like a programmer. Like if you don't uh use an instrument, like you're a programmer. Like you're not a musician. That's how he looked at
Yeah.
things, and he was like, the musicians are the ones that are gonna like push the sound and whatnot. But like he was saying that it's because like he doesn't like the aspect of chat GPT and all the AI, because he thinks like it makes individual musicians obsolete then.
Yeah. Like it
Where
makes them less valuable.
yeah,
So
but like at the argument for the fucking producer was like, okay, but that makes the cream of the crop have to rise, like
yeah.
that only makes the best of the best of the musicians have to rise. And
Yep.
then it gives us like, as the producers, like, okay, now I don't have to get a drummer, I could get a drum program, I could ask GBT whatever, or I could ask AI to make me a fucking like cool drum loop, or like a cool chord whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
And that's just helping me as a producer, which a programmer, which we kind of are, like that's how we do, we're programming everything into the fucking computer, right? But like now it's just going a little step further, like
Yeah.
who's gonna make the better AI programmer, you feel me?
Right.
Like
Well, it's the same thing with samples, bro. Like we were saying, like Denmus didn't have access to like samples like you can find on Splice or whatever. It's gonna be technically like the new Splice. Who can like utilize these certain tools to make the best thing. You know what I mean? So, because like I feel like there's this big argument between like, oh, you're not really like a producer if you use samples or blah 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 blah. But that's what a producer is, bro. Like we sample things. We also use MIDI. Like it's a combination of both. So
I was listening to the XLR N podcast or something like that. They're two audio engineers and producers, but they asked a question to it, like each other. If you're in a room, who would you want to be the engineer? Who would you want to be the person who writes? Who would you want to be the mastering engineer? And then who do you want to be the producer of everything? So like that's four different artists that they would have to name right there, and they named all these like crazy artists, right? But at the end of the day, like the last question was, who do you want to produce them? Which is basically like, how do you want to like arrange these artists or whatnot? You feel me? Like
yeah.
And that's what we're doing. We just don't have access to all these insane, crazy artists right now. You feel me? Like all we have access to is all these samples that we're paying for, all these like packs that we're paying for. That's our artists pretty much right now. And us as producers, we're putting it all together and whatnot.
Right.
And then as ourselves, we're maybe mixing it. And then as ourselves, we're probably mastering it too, which is depends on us, like if we want to master it and mix it ourselves, right?
Right.
But like that's just our only like dilemma right now, is that we just don't have access to all these crazy fucking insane like musicians and shit like that. Like how do I find the most, like there's musicians around me, right? Like there's probably like a guitarist that lives next to me or something that, but like he's probably not the sickest best guitarist that I have in my vision. You feel me? Like
right.
Like that's gonna take a certain person, and like how do I find that person? And okay, now I found someone that can make me like cool guitar leads.
Right.
Now I need to find someone that can make me cool drum loops or cool drum breaks and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's just like a whole ass process where it's easier for us to just get cool sounding samples and arrange it ourselves, program it in ourselves and shit like that. And sometimes like lately, because I've been using like acapellas or like Splice acapellas like on my tracks and whatnot.
Yeah.
Or like acapellas from packs. Like I'm starting to look at my tracks more as like, is this more of a demo? Like should I like, do I look at this more as a demo? Because in reality, like I wish like I had like
the vocalist that sounds like
I wish I had that vocalist, but then I wish I had them saying things I wanted them to say. You feel me? Exactly. Or like I wish like these drums, like they sound cool the way I programmed it in, right? But I just wish it sounded like someone was actually playing it. You feel me? And then like I'm thinking like, damn, are a lot of the shits that I'm making, like, well, I'm starting to look at it like just me personally, like, is this more like could be looked at as a demo? But in reality, I just need
You just need that. Yeah.
the access to these people to make it not demo-ish. You feel me?
Right. And then through like the AI, then you could have like technically access to it, you know?
Now,
So,
yeah.
now. And then, but the thing too is like, what's funny, like when you say that is when I was doing, I have like a lot of vocals on the album, but what I did was I found like a splice acapella that I liked, right? I put it over the track and I was like, okay, this is what I like. And I got some vocalists together. And I was like, hey, I want this exactly, but I just want you to sing it like in the same tone, the same everything. And they did it. And so that's how I kind of do it. So that's like another way that you could do it too. You could just put like a placeholder, or if you want to release the song as the demo, like it's there for you to use.
Yeah, yeah. No,
So,
for sure. But and like that's the hardest part is just finding like a vocalist that I'm gonna be.
dude,
like.
it's fucking hard to find vocalists, bro. There's there's not a lot, bro. Especially where we're at, you know, we have, like you said, we don't really have access to all these crazy ass vocalists that we like.
But yeah, and like I said, we might find a vocalist, but bro, we need a fucking vocalist that could be hitting these F sharps. Homegirl could only hit these A sharps. You feel me? So it's like, this isn't necessarily gonna work for what I need, you know. So it's like, damn, like you're a great vocalist, but not for what I necessarily
for what I'm trying to do. Yeah,
and that's the hardest part about this. Like,
it's really tough, and that like whole AI thing would make it a lot easier. It'll be frowned upon for sure. You know, like I'm sure we'll be bitching about it.
Well, I mean, I think some people will frown upon it, but I think it'd be like a trend that'll take years for people to be like, oh, how come I haven't been using this? Maybe like since the beginning. Like I don't know, like, you know, because I don't know. We just have to see how that plays out. Like, because I think the producer audience and like the creative audience is like divided. Yeah. Like bringing on AI like as their assistant for 100%. Like creating music specifically.
You think instead of having to like, say we use an AI vocalist, right? We're gonna have to credit the AI, right?
I don't know, bro.
I mean, if you didn't make the AI and you're using a third party AI, and I'm thinking they
do I have to give them splits? Is what I'm asking. Like.
You gotta pay the AI.
Yeah, the AI takes splits.
They're gonna be hitting you up and like, hey, where's my split at?
Well, I mean, shit started getting crazy. Like, especially if you're using like AI generated replicas of like other famous celebrities.